Today I want to briefly talk about one of my favourite things to exist. Welcome back to the channel where I make weekly videos every other month. As I said, we're going to talk about movements today, but like normal, I'm not going to tell you what it's about or like go into it. I'm just going to tell you about my experience with it. I've known of movements for years, but both my parents say they've never had a relationship with the books or TV show or anything, so I have no idea how I know about it. But that didn't matter, because I loved it, and I got a job at the movement shop.
Yeah, so I worked at the Moomin shop in Covent Garden for a little while, and this was my real introduction to the world of Moomins. I knew of it and I knew the characters, but I didn't know how big this thing was. The new series on Sky was just coming out, but I didn't realise that there was so much merchandise prior to that. I loved this shop. I loved working there. So here are some fun stories about my time at the shop. Okay, so I get in one morning about 11 AM and one of my colleagues is already there. We do the usual greeting and are ready to get on with the day. About 12:15, my other colleague comes in and starts his day with postage and packaging. We're having conversation while he's sorting out deliveries and stuff, and he notices we have a parcel. It's one of those padded envelopes. Nothing too out of the ordinary, I guess, but what was it? Well, it had been returned for some, random country that I can't really remember, but it wasn't actually addressed to the shop, just the address. Which is a bit odd, seeing as if we got anything on the odd occasion, it at least had the name of the shop on it. This wasn't posted by us either, so why was it returned to us? So my colleague, let's call him John, or whatever, he calls up our manager and explains the situation and how weird it is. Our manager says, well, just open it, what's the worst it could be? So John opens up the package and, my God, the smell that came out of that parcel was insane. Yeah, it was, yeah, someone had return addressed a package like that to the Moomin shop. We were kind of freaking out, so John makes another call to our manager and he has to come down to the store to sort the situation. They go off to the police station and handle it, where the police explained that it was probably a dark web order or something and the return address had been randomly generated. So, that happened.
I don't just love Moomins because of the stories I have at the shop. I love Moomins because of the stories that it has itself. I love the books and other shows. I think they're sweet, but at the same time, there's a little bit of darkness in there. A little bit adult, but at the same time completely child-friendly. And on that note, I do have another story.
So, it was another normal day. Work had been completely fine and nothing out of the ordinary had happened. Just a general day working at the store. It was about an hour before the end of my shift and I was ready to go home. Thud. Yeah, thud. Thud. And another one. Okay, I'm thinking it's a little weird, but what are you going to do? Then a shout. More shouting. Panic. Yeah, there was panic at the bottom of the shop stairs. Now, let me paint you a picture. To get into the shop, you walk down the street and see the entrance. You go in through the entrance, but that just takes you into a small lobby with some stairs leading up to the actual shop. Does that actually make sense? I don't know. Okay, so I go to investigate the panic. I start walking down the stairs to view a man having what looks like a fit on the stairs and at least 20 to 30 people crowding around him. I go up to tell my colleague who is working that day, let's call her Annabelle. Yeah, I don't know, but before I could tell her, I hear the sirens. So Annabelle is in a bit of a panic herself and I explain what's happened. We don't know what to do because it's completely out of our hands, but no one can get up to the shop, so do we close? Do we wait it out? So I keep checking on the situation and turns out this man had overdosed on heroin. He'd come out of the pub next door, smacked down onto the stairs and passed out. The ambulance came, took him away, and all was okay in the end. I packed up my things, asked Annabelle if she'd be okay, and then left to go home.
I think my time at the Moomin shop was a lot like Moomins itself. There was a new story every time I went in, a new subplot or added story to move the main plot along.
Okay, so my main job was to wear a Moomin troll costume out the front of the store. I'd dance around, shake hands and take pictures with people. It was hot, I could barely see, and most of the time I just wanted to sit down. But one time there was this kid, and he came up to me innocently at first for a hug and a picture like most people want, but his parent would not take the picture. To him, apparently this meant he needed to get their attention in a different way, by coming up to me and pushing me, and then punching me, and then kicking me. It kept happening and the parent finally noticed, and I remember thinking, thank God, this might end. But no, they wanted to video him doing that to me. And after 15 minutes of abuse from a 6-year-old child, I got to go in, take the costume off, and move on. Not one of my nicest stories, but it did move my plot along.
I decided to leave my job at Moomins. The management was good and the job was good, but I wasn't in the right place in my life. There were certain things going on that meant I couldn't really enjoy it to its fullest. It meant that days that I got bullied by a 6-year-old kid, I just couldn't really take it. I do miss working there and I miss the stories that came of it. And I still love Moomins and the world that it built. But, you know, sometimes you just have to move on. If you haven't been to the shop, or you haven't seen Moomins or read the books, seriously go seek it out. I can't explain how good it is. Now, on a completely unrelated note, I'm going to be swapping videos from 4 videos a month to 2 videos a month, just so I can kind of keep up with it a bit better. So yeah, that's all. If you have watched the end, thank you very much. It means a lot. And yeah, that's kind of it.